What? Are you serious? I just let you out. I have to let my dog out. Hello? Anybody on here?
We don't think about what 20 drinks will do, or 30. We think about what one or two will do for us.
So unless they can again experience a sense of ease and comfort, which comes at once by taking a few drinks. Drinks which they see others taking with impunity. And impunity simply means that those people are drinking and seemingly they don't have any problems. And after they have succumbed to desire again, as so many do.
After we've finally given in and taken a couple of drinks.
And then the phenomenal craving develops. They pass through the well-known stages of a spree, emerging remorseful with a firm resolution not to drink again. And how many times have I done that? How many times have you done that? Come off of one of those big drunks and long, extended period drunks and promise them and yourself and anybody that will listen, I'll never do it again. I'm through. I promise you, I'm through. And those of you who made those promises, you know that we were sincere and we meant that.
You guys hear this?
This is repeated over and over and over.
All one of you.
And unless this person can experience an entire psychic change, there's very little hope for his recovery. So you quit talking about the body now. He's talking about the psychic change, the mind. Later on in our book, the psychic change is going to be described as a spiritual experience, a spiritual awakening, a personality change. All four words meaning the same thing. A psychic change. There's very little hope for its recovery. So the change...
We are very, very complex human beings. Not only are we complex physically, but we also are complex mentally too. And all people experience emotions. All people experience from time to time anger, resentment, fear, worry, depression, excitement, elation, guilt, remorse. These are all emotions that all human beings have. Now, somewhere back in our lifetime, as we begin to experience those emotions as we grow up, we start seeking a solution to them. And like me, when I was that kid growing up, I was just an emotional basket case. Couldn't hardly function in normal society. Always scared to death, always worried, always angry, always doing things that I shouldn't do and feeling the guilt and the remorse associated with that. Now, I used to think only we alcoholics did that. But I found out today that that's normal. As kids grow up, everybody experiences these kind of feelings. And they start looking for an answer, and many people find it in many different ways. Some people find that when they don't feel good emotionally, that they can go out here and start working. And the excess work seems to make them feel better. Some people find that when they're emotionally fouled up, they can eat certain foods. And that seems to make them feel better. Some people find that when they're emotionally disturbed, that if they can just get really involved deeper and deeper into sexuality, that makes them feel better. And some people find that there's establishments like this building that if you're emotionally disturbed, you can do a little gambling, and that makes you feel better. Now, it doesn't make any difference what you find that makes you feel better. When you find a solution to that emotional problem, your mind has a memory bank. It immediately records the solution. And the reason it does that is the next time you have that emotional problem, you don't have to go looking for a solution. Your mind feeds it back to you. Well, a little gambling made me feel better. Or that food made me feel better. Or that work made me feel better. Or whatever. Now that's called mental addiction. And everybody has that. You know, we become mentally addicted to certain types of automobiles. We become mentally addicted to our hairdressers. We become mentally addicted to certain dishwater products that we use. We've got a problem, we find the answer, the mind records it, feeds it back to us the next time we have the problem. As a kid growing up, I had that emotional problem. And one night somebody gave me that drink of moonshine whiskey. And immediately those problems disappeared. And that great, exciting, in-control feeling came over me. And I was allowed to ask that girl to dance, take her home, and get in the back seat of that 36 Chevrolet. It answered my problem that night. My mind immediately recorded what it did for me. The next time I got into a solution where I didn't feel right, things were not right, my mind said, if you could find a drink, you'd feel better. And I found a drink of whiskey, and God, the magic happened the second time. In other words, alcohol became the solution to my emotional problems. Now, if I had been non-alcoholic and that worked for me, that would have been great. But
I'm not really quite...
that emotional problem. And one night somebody gave me that drink of moonshine whiskey. And immediately those problems disappeared. And that great, exciting, in-control feeling came over me. And I was allowed to ask that girl to dance, take her home, and get in the back seat of that 36 Chevrolet. It answered my problem that night. My mind immediately recorded what it did for me. The next time I got into a solution where I didn't feel right, things were not right, my mind said, if you could find a drink, you'd feel better. And I found a drink of whiskey, and God, the magic happened the second time. In other words, alcohol became the solution to my emotional problems. Now, if I had been non-alcoholic and that worked for me, that would have been great. But I also had that physical allergy over there on that side. And when I had the problem and I used the solution, it sure enough made me feel better, but also it triggered the allergy, and I would drink more than I intended to drink, and I would end up drunk. And I would repeat that cycle over and over and over and over and over again. The mind causing me to drink, the allergy causing me to get drunk.
I'm going to run to the store real quick. I'll be back probably in a couple hours. I'll be back this afternoon. I'm going to try to be back at 11 o'clock for a meeting. I'm Melianaey on Instagram, 2 L's in the middle.